just got the skeleton from right as I said that, so it worked out really well for us. I'm actually predicted his skeleton on with the logs, so looks like that would. Yo, what's going on guys? Ian77 here. In today's video we're going to be using my favorite deck of all time inside of Clash Royale. Alright, so hopping in the first match here, we're going to be up against this guy, and as you guys saw probably in the intro here, we are going to be using Logbait with Tornado, which has been like a very good deck inside of Clash Royale for quite a long time actually. It's definitely not quite as good now as it once was, but at one point it was pretty much dominating the entire meta for like maybe probably like 2 years or so. Not really too sure how long, but it just used to be such an OP deck when Tornado lasted like 3 seconds or even like 2 or 2.5 seconds. It was still like super strong, and no matter what your opponents ran, you could pretty much always beat them. Like even if they had like double small spell to counter your Goblin barrels and like your princesses, you could always find a way to win. So it was just like such a crazy strong deck, and it's just like such a fun deck to play. I feel like there's so much outplay potential with this deck, and obviously it is a little bit difficult to play in it, and it is quite a high skill cap deck just because it has no building in it, so you really have to use your cards quite smartly. Like before you could get away with not having a building just because of like how OP the Tornado was. Like the Tornado would last for like 2.5 seconds I think when this deck was the best or was at its peak, so you could really just rely on that Tornado. But now it's not quite as strong on defense, so you do have to be a little bit more careful, but I feel like you can still have success with it today, because even right now I'm pushing quite high up on ladder, and I have been winning a few games off camera already, so I feel like this deck is still quite viable. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure this guy's going to be playing just like some lava balloon deck right here. He didn't show his balloon yet, but I'm almost positive that it is going to be balloon right here, so it will be quite an interesting match. We don't have like an Inferno Tower or something like normal, so it will be like way harder than it normally would be, but now we can kind of like test if we can really outplay very well with this deck, as I was saying. And I purposely went with the Goblin Barrel in the back right there, just in case he tried to go with like a Valkyrie trying to like kill the Goblin Barrel and the Knight, but we kind of forced him to spend minions and Valkyrie because of that, and now his push behind his lava is probably going to be pretty weak right here. Gonna get a really good Goblin gang right there, and you can see we're doing a really good job of pulling these mega minions to the center than just kiting them with like knights and stuff. So we don't really have like the best way to actually kill his lavas, because we only really have like princesses, but then you can just like easily fireball them. So you can stick with this deck, and only you do have to be quite aggressive. It is honestly quite a bit more aggressive than the normal bait versions. Like normally you have Inferno Tower bait, you can kind of just like be a lot more defensive and kind of just focus on defense a lot more. And I'm actually going to pull this lava back with a Tornado right here. I think we might be able to stall him out for long enough to where he won't be able to actually get a bloom on the tower if we play this right. And yeah, just going to chuck a rocket on his tower right here, and we can just NATO back if we have to. But I think this new open Goblin game right here, and just go with the Knight just to be safe here. Just kind of expecting that Zap, and looks like we're going to pick up a pretty easy win in the first game. Alright, hopping in the next game here, we're going to be up against a fellow CMG player, or at least this guy has CMG in his name, but I don't think he's actually on CMG as I am, so gonna have to beat him here, show him who's the real CMG player. But alright, looks like he does have Battle Ram here, so it can only really mean one thing. It's probably going to be a P.E.K.K.A deck right here. There's a small chance it's like the E-Barbs version with like Archer Queen and whatnot, but I think this should be P.E.K.K.A right here. If I remember correctly, I did face this guy like a few times before, and I'm pretty sure he does run P.E.K.K.A, so this will be interesting here. We don't have like a Tesla or Inferno Tower to kind of like pool his battle rams, but we do have Tornado, which we can use to activate our King Tower here off of this Bandit. If you actually go with the Tornadoes like quick enough, you can make it so that Bandit will only get a charge in our tower and it won't even get like a single shot after that, because with the old Tornado you would always have to take the Bandit dash and an extra shot from it, but now ever since the Tornado rework, you can just take only the dash and then still activate your King Tower pretty easily. So just a little tip right there. But alright, honestly super good Knight right there. Wasn't really expecting that it would work out that well, but managed to like perfectly time it to where the Royal Ghost targeted it instead of the Goblin gang, and should be able to finish off this Magic Arch with just an Ice Spirit right here. But we do have to kind of watch out for his Battle Rams now, because we kind of wasted most of our resets, but I think Goblin Gang should do a good job of taking it out right here, and gonna force him to zap the Goblin Barrel, so he wasn't really able to zap the Goblin Gang and really get anything going for himself. So yeah, looking pretty good right here. We're in a pretty pretty even spot, and we are down a little bit of damage, but to be honest, like, the main reason for that is just because we went with the King Tower activation, so it's kind of worth it for us. And actually we went with a pretty aggressive rocket on his P.E.K.K.A, but I think it should be fine just because we do have the King Tower activated, so that's the real benefit of the Tornado, even though it's not maybe quite as good on defense. The real nice thing about it is that you get the free King Tower activation against like the majority of decks in the game, so that really helps out quite a ton. And honestly, Tornado is also super good against like Hog Rider decks and stuff like that, so I know a lot of you guys are probably struggling with Hog. I know a lot of you guys like Hog, but I think a lot of you guys are probably also struggling to beat Hog in mid ladder. Honestly, Tornado is like a really good answer to Hog. Like, it's always going to stop it, and it is a positive 1 elixir trade. But if you're playing mid ladder and you keep tornadoing Hogs to your King Tower, you do have to be kind of prepared that you could possibly get 3 crowned if you pull too many Hogs to your King Tower. So do be a bit careful with that. And you can see we're doing really well in this game so far. Honestly, the Goblin game is actually quite good still. Like, I feel like people call it like one of the worst cards in the game right now, and maybe it is more on the worst end of the cards, but I feel like it's actually not that bad if you don't count how good guards are. Like, I feel like guards are just like such a good card, and they kind of just really overshadow the Goblin game, but I don't feel like the Goblin game itself is actually that bad, because I have played it quite a bit today, and I've seen that actually does quite a bit of work still. The only thing is that it's just like really squishy, so when you try to like surround something like a witch or a wizard with it, it doesn't work nearly as well as with guards or something like that. So that's the real downside to Goblin game, but it does put out like plenty of damage per second and stuff like that. And yeah, so we're always kind of like saving the right cards for the right things. We're kind of just like stacking princesses here, kind of asserting field control through the princesses, and then we're kind of just getting Goblin gangs for his battle rams and like knights for his royal ghosts, and we're kind of just getting whatever else we need to counter his bandits. And I think he will just give up here, probably just need like 1 more rocket to win, and looks like he's just going to hand it to us. So yeah, pretty easy win right here. Alright, hopping in the third match here, we're going to be up against Wallace. So Wallace is actually one of the best players in the game right now, and he does have a YouTube channel of his own, as you can see from his clan right here, so make sure to check him out after you guys watch this video. Definitely a very good player and a hard-working content creator. So he does have royal delivery here, so probably could only mean a few things, and looks like it will be royal hogs. So honestly, this could be really difficult right here to beat royal hogs. We don't have like a Valkyrie or anything, so it's going to be super hard to stop them, but we're going to get the King Tower activation right there. Just wanted to make sure we actually got our King Tower activated, just to help for future defenses, even though it kind of cost us quite a bit of damage right there, unfortunately. And yeah, it will be really hard to stop his royal hogs. We don't have like guards in this deck, so we can't really have quite as much DPS, and we don't have like a Valkyrie or like a Tesla or even an Inferno Tower, so we don't really have any consistent way to stop his royal hogs. So not really too sure how we're going to beat this matchup. Potentially we can kind of like stack princesses and stuff. That's probably the key to winning a matchup like this. But yeah, so honestly, like, I feel like a deck like this is like quite a bit weaker in the meta compared to how it used to be. But I feel like it's not too bad if you play it really well, but it's kind of like a deck where you have to really outplay your opponents to succeed with it. So I would recommend like being like a little bit of a better player if you want to try this deck. Like, maybe not a better player, but like better with like bait. Like, maybe you have like some experience with like cycle decks or like with bait before you play this deck, because it will be a pretty difficult deck to pick up. But I feel like it could be quite good in mid ladder. It is quite a high skill deck, but Tornado can get quite a bit of value in mid ladder, but at the same time the Inferno Tower is really nice as well, so kind of hard to say which bait version would be better. Unless you're going to get a little bit of chip there in the left lane right there. I just pressured really nicely with the Goblin gang. Like, the one nice thing about the Goblin gang is that it's like super fast, so unlike guards, it will go like towards the tower, like even a little bit faster usually. So usually you can kind of like apply a bit more pressure and sometimes get a few lucky stabs on their tower or whatever. So we are still down quite a bit right here just because of the annoying fire spirit. Honestly, so hard to stop these fire spirits when we don't have like an ice spirit in cycle for ourselves. So yeah, and he's gonna go with a set of royal hogs here. I could keep rocketing them, but if I keep rocketing them, then I won't have like any way to get damage myself, because I can only really get damage on his towers using a rocket. So kind of have to save those rockets for offense whenever possible. So alright, looks like Princess will get one shot on this tower right there, so really nice right there. And yeah, looks like he's going to go with another set of Royal Hogs here, and he's always going to be able to Earthquake our Goblin gangs, but they never really die quickly enough to where his Royal Hogs will actually get too much damage on our tower, but he does get one big shot right there, unfortunately, and yeah, so I'm just going to go with the rocket in his tower, just because he went with the kind of over-aggressive Earthquake while playing his Royal Hogs, so he doesn't really have too much elixir to punish us. He's going to go with this set of Royal Hogs and Earthquake here, but was kind of a little bit late to the point where we already had enough elixir to defend, so yeah. So you can see, like, even though he does have two small spells, he's kind of always put in an awkward spot where he always kind of has to just play his Royal Hog straight into our princesses, and it never really works out too well for him, so so yeah, should be quite good right here. I think I'm just gonna go with a rocket right here, just to like make sure that we can cycle back to another run before he cycles a bunch of Earthquakes in our tower. And I will have to go with kind of a high princess here. Can't really afford to take a Fire Spirit shot on our tower, and we do kind of have to watch out for his queen on the left lane, but I don't really think we can do anything about it. He's gonna get quite a bit of damage, but yeah, I think we just need like our log plus rocket plus tornado to finish him off at this point, so just kind of want to cycle back to stuff. It looks like he's just going to kind of sack the Goblin Girl, and he's just going to go all in right here, but I don't think he has any way to get back to Royal Hogs in time, and now just going to cycle a rocket in his tower, and that will be a good game. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're going to be up against Kodago GG, so this guy is actually a fellow CMG player, so shout out to him. I think he's also creating quite a bit of content, and yeah, definitely make sure to go check him out as well. I've been facing a lot of content creators today for some reason. And yeah, so he does have Mighty Miner, so it could probably only need like a couple things. Normally, like Mighty Miner's only really running a Goblin Drill deck and like sometimes Logbait and stuff like that. And I think I'm gonna go for the King Tower activation here off his Wall Breakers. Oh, it's so unlucky. Our one Spear Goblin got like a shot on his Wall Breaker, so it didn't allow our King Tower to get activated right there, kind of unfortunately, but not looking too bad right there. Kind of messed up the tornado timing, but he also messed up that Mighty Miner for some reason. Not really any idea as to why he went with the Mighty Miner in the right lane when we went with the Goblin Barrel in the left lane. I guess he may have misclicked there or something like that. Not really too sure why he would do that, but the nice thing about Goblin Gang is that it's going to be like a super good distraction to the Mighty Miners every single time. They never really can ever break through those swarms like Goblin Gang, so should be quite nice right here. And I'm pretty sure he's playing Drill at this point, and yeah, he's gonna go with the Drill right here, so I think I'm just gonna activate King Tower right here against the Drill. It's always really good to do that when you're playing Logbait Tornado, because you don't really have like a building to kind of counter their wall breakers and stuff, so you kind of need the King Tower just to make sure it will always get like those final shots against the wall breakers to prevent them from connecting and whatnot. So I feel like it's really important to get your King Tower activated as early as possible when you're running this deck. Yeah, so we do have to be a bit careful right here to kind of space out our units. Don't really want to play a Goblin Gang in the middle right now. Just was kind of like thinking he could possibly go with like a log like straight down the middle, because he does have also like Fire Spirit plus Skeletons, which can fully counter a Goblin Barrel if he plays them right. So can't really risk it too much, but yeah, he's just going to go with a Goblin Drill plus Fireball there, so I'm just going to go with a Rocket in his tower, and unfortunately he just barely missed the Mighty Miner right there. Wasn't really intending to hit anything with the Rocket except his tower, but would have still been quite nice if we had actually hit his tower. And yeah, I think Ice Spirit plus Log should fully counter his Drill, but we do kind of mess up the Goblin Drill counter timing right there, so took quite a bit of damage right there. Made a bit of a mistake on the timing, but we should be fine right here. We have a pretty big lead at this point, so don't really think he's going to be able to do too much here. And Ice Spirit just freezes for so long these days, so his Goblin Drill didn't even get any damage on our tower, and yeah, in a really good spot right now. I think Princess should get one more shot. Yeah, we'll get one more shot, and that will be in rocket range, so that will be a good game against Goblin Drill. You can see this deck is actually doing really well against some of the most popular decks in the game right now, like Goblin Drill. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're going to be up against Lucas X Gamer. Yeah, so I'm just going to give him the good game right here. I think he might have sniped me. Just like a few minutes ago, I was talking to him before I started recording, and he said he's going to try to snipe me, so I hope he didn't actually snipe me. I hope he was just joking. But yeah, so looks like you guys have Miner plus Minion Horde here, so that's actually pretty good for us. I was at first thinking he was running like a X-Bow Pump deck, which is going to be pretty hard for this deck to beat. Yeah, he was like threatening to snipe me with that deck, but I guess he was just joking. So luckily for us, it should be fine right here. Not really sure what he's playing. Okay, he's playing Mortar right here, so honestly a pretty bad matchup still. So not really too sure how to feel about this, but it also kind of does depend on his spells. We could probably still beat him at this point if he has like no small spell in his deck, but not really too sure what he's running in. Honestly, a super nice Goblin gang placement right there. Their Goblins are going to take out the Mortar super nicely right there, and just going to Tornado early on his Minion Horde just to get a bit of chip damage on his tower as well. And now just going to go with an Ice Spirit plus Goblin Barrel, kind of see what he has. And yeah, so it looks like he does have Skeleton Army in his deck, so going to be a little bit annoying for us. It's always going to be able to counter the Goblin Barrels pretty easily. We can't really do too much about it. Sometimes we can log it away kind of, but you can usually avoid it because the log doesn't really go as far back as it used to, unless we actually play our barrels like kind of more towards the front of his tower. But in that case, you can kind of just like block the entire thing with his Skeleton King. So it's kind of a loss for us if he plays it smart enough. But we're gonna just like wait and see what we can do right here. And honestly, the mortars will be pretty difficult to stop, not having like a Tesla or a cannon to really counter his mortars, or like even an Inferno tower. So just gonna go with a rocket on his mortar right here. If you actually rocket mortars quickly enough, you can actually eliminate any chance of them getting a shot on your tower. And it is a -2 elixir trade, but sometimes you can afford it, especially when you're in kind of like a bit more of a difficult matchup like this. Sometimes you kind of have to take weird trades like that, like going with rockets on mortars when you don't really have the ideal defensive cycle. And yeah, just gonna go with that Tornado right here on his bats just to ensure that he has to spend something else. And unfortunately, we didn't really have the best timing on that Tornado. He kind of just went straight in with the Mortar right there, so didn't really do too much. And his Mortar did actually lock on our tower somehow. I really didn't think it would, but ended up locking on. And he's gonna get a couple shots. We're still a little bit in the lead at this point, so not looking too bad for us. Maybe not the best Goblin Barrel right there. Probably could have waited a second, so we would have had to spend something else on our knight, but still overall, and not too bad of a spot here. Just gonna go with the Princess at the bridge, and unfortunately he does go with the Mortar straight into it once again. So just gonna go with the Tornado right here on his Minion Horde, kind of just trying to take it off the board as quickly as possible. I'm just gonna go with the Princess here as well, just to make sure we don't let the Mortar lock on our tower, even though it is quite sad just seeing the Princess just absolutely get demolished by the Mortar. And the Mortar actually got one final shot, but actually missed the tower completely. I feel like the Mortar sometimes just has like an auto aim where it will not, like never miss, but then other times it just completely misses the target. And honestly, a little bit early there on the Goblin gang by us right there. So yeah, not really looking too good right here, but we are still up in damage quite a bit. So as long as we don't like choke any defenses, I think we should be looking fine right here. And yeah, Goblin gang does actually have the 2 Spear Goblins and like a set of guards or something would, so it is going to allow us to kind of like hit air. And his Mortar actually locked on our tower. I didn't really expect that at all, but it looks like we were able to freeze it with the Ice Spirit just in time before it wreaked too much havoc on us, I guess. And yeah, so we're kind of just like stalling his Mortars out. Like as you can see, we don't really have any good answers to his Mortars, but we're kind of just like stalling them out with whichever units we can. So we're doing a really good job of that right here. And just gonna like Prediction Tornado right here on the Skarmory that he might use, but looks like he didn't go with it right there. So not gonna be too good for us. But yeah, I don't really want to rocket his Mortars anymore. I'm just gonna say I wouldn't want to rocket his Mortars anymore, but he just went with the Skeleton King right as I said that. So worked out really well for us. I'm actually predicting his Skeleton Army with the logs, so looks like that will be a good game right here. Probably just need to get a rocket off. And thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!